The Minigunner is one of those iconic towers in Tower Defense Simulator, mainly because of how simple it is and how it was one of the first towers to ever be released in TDS. It was here ever since day one, but ever since the Ranger buff in December of 2022, both the Minigunner and Golden Minigunner really just serve no purpose. How and why though? Let's get into the video. First, I'll be giving a quick history of the Minigunner. It was always considered just an average tower from day one up until 2022 because how the tower was just outclassed. It really wasn't just a good late game option, but why? This is because of how Minigunner is affected by a bug that makes all towers delay its fire rate, which at the time was 0.05 seconds. This made Minigunner's DPS go from 61 to 34. It later got changed to 0.03 seconds in October of 2020 and then 0.008 seconds in March of 2022. It got changed in Hardcore and Frost update, which wasn't big enough to make it viable late game. It was just always considered a mid-game tower. The only real-time Minigunner was good was back in March of 2022 when a lot of towers weren't just viable. And Golden Minigunner was really OP until it got nerfed in Golden Perks update, limiting its use a lot more. The Minigunner eventually started becoming less useful due to a lot of towers, notably being Ranger, Pursuit, and even Turret getting buffed, but eventually got another buff in late 2023, which led us to the current version. So what's the problem with the current version? The problem with the current Minigunner is how poorly it functions as a tower, mostly because of how it doesn't really have a placement limit. But why is this an issue, and shouldn't this be an advantage? Well, no. You see, because of how Minigunner has no placement limit, it has to stay at a roughly lower DPS compared to other DPS towers in order not to be overpowered. Like the Ranger right now has double the DPS and has 3 times more range than the current Minigunner. Even though Ranger has a limit of 6 and Minigunners have no limit, the placement limit goes down the higher number of players you have. You have to have 13 or more Minigunners to beat Ranger in DPS, but Ranger also has a lot more advantages, like only needing to take 6 placement spots to get its full DPS, making it overall a more useful choice to bring, as you can place on other DPS towers like Ace Pilot, Rocketeer, and even Turret, as they do more DPS than Minigunner. And how you'll always bring 2 or 3 DPS towers in your loadout with the current meta. Currently, the Minigunner doesn't really serve a purpose, and it just mostly scams people into buying it when you can just save for Ace Pilot and Ranger, and you can progress so much faster and better. I would argue even the Militant is more useful, because of how much more valuable it is in the early to mid game. It has higher range, it's way cheaper, being able to be used as a sub DPS, and one of the best options in duo hardcore, as there's a strategy that uses it. Minigunner is also mechanically boring. Minigunner are just also mechanically boring. Towers in intermediate like military base have an airstrike ability. Ace Pilot is also a flying tower, which you can change where it's moving. Even Trapper, there's literally 3 different traps you can change and strategize with it. Meanwhile, Minigunner is just nothing special, besides being a generic spam DPS tower. I get this tower is supposed to be really basic, but because of how expensive it is in the shop, being 8,500 coins, it doesn't really work in my opinion. I would say Minigunner should get changed into one of the 4 ideas I suggested. The first option, buffing the placement limit of overall player counts from solo to quad. The next one is giving Minigunner a high placement limit of 12, so it can be useful in multiplayer like how Cowboy or Hunter got changed. The third one being, Minigunner can get a higher DPS at levels 3 to 4, the higher the player count, and being overall more expensive the higher the player count. And lastly, each max Minigunner will give the Minigunners a damage buff of 5%, that has a maximum of 100%, which gets higher from player counts to make this tower more useful when spammed. Anyways, this is all I have to say. If you have any other video ideas, let me know in the comments. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like the video to help support me into making more videos. Anyways, see you.